YouTube, it's Chris. LOD Bias. Level of detail bias is a graphic setting that adjusts how textures appear at different distances. So what's the point and why would you want to do this? Well, we can either just stick with NVIDIA's defaults, or we could go negative and make the game really pop and bring out the textures. We could make the game look like clay for an unfair competitive advantage in games, if the game developers allow us to use it. And we could also go full positive to make the textures look horrible. Maybe get some more frames. Depends. It's a little bit more complicated than that. If you guys want to do this guide, there should be a link down in the description to my link tree. Through my link tree, you should take you directly to the GitHub right here. Right here on the GitHub page, you should see LOD Bias. So go ahead and click on that. Now to download the files we'll need for this guide, click on code, click on download zip. It should take us straight to the downloads folder. In the downloads folder, let's go ahead and we'll extract it. Let's extract the files. And let's just drag this to the desktop. We can work with it from the desktop later. I'll cover a few things first. Right, so I already explained what LOD Bias is. Unfortunately, you're going to need an NVIDIA card. So there is a way to do it for AMD GPUs in the registry. I have seen it done for, I believe, DirectX 9 titles. If anyone out there knows how to do it on AMD cards, for Vulkan, for DirectX 11 and 12, for OpenGL, let me know. Also, let's say you've got the NVIDIA GPU check. This will only work in DirectX or OpenGL games. So unfortunately, I've not found a way to get this to work for Vulkan. Maybe somewhere smarter out there knows better than I do. Let me know. I'd like to include it into this guide. I will update it if it needs to be updating. All right, so why? As I explained before, default is the driver implementation, whatever the driver might be. Sometimes when game developers, or so should I say driver developers, work on drivers, they might adjust that a little bit by the default values. Positive, it'll look worse. Clay, we can make the game look like clay. And negative, textures are going to look better. Right, so could you get banned for this? Well, technically we're just changing graphics settings. So in my opinion, it is the game developers. They disapprove, it's their responsibility to address it. For instance, Rainbow Six Siege allows you to launch the game but displays a warning message and restricts online play. Counter-Strike 2 completely prevents you from launching the game, so the game developers can block this out. And I feel like if you're getting banned for using it, that's really on them and they're being salty. They should just not let you launch the game at all. It's not hard for them to put something in place to not let you use it, okay? So that's Counter-Strike. It won't let you launch the game at all. Rainbow Six Siege. It'll let you launch the game, play offline, do the benchmark, muck around in the settings, but you can't actually play online. That's how it should be. Okay. So some game engines will need to manually apply the LOD settings. My script won't work, or should I say it works, but some games in the NVIDIA profile, the graphics driver profile for the driver for the individual game, you'll have to manually switch it on in there. So I'll show you that in a little bit. Some games, when you boot them, will set it back to a default setting. So if that's the case, you have to set these files to read only. Those are the comparisons that I was showing you guys before. Where it gets really interesting is it's not just to make the game look potato, maybe an unfair advantage. Any of you OG viewers out there remember my older videos that are kind of delisted, but in all playlists, you'll kind of remember me talking about this in Battlefield 5. But, you know, LOD positive, maybe there might be some game out there. If you have a fairly weak graphics card, you could get a couple more frames out of the game. What's even more sort of exciting is the negative LOD. Like, it's kind of hard to see through the photos, but look how much more quality the textures have. The shadows and even the back chalkboard there. So potentially you single player gamers out there, you can make your game look so much better. If you don't mind losing maybe a couple of frames. The frame loss or gain depends, it gets complicated. But I know for a fact when I'm going to start playing some juicy single player games on my 4K QD OLED 240, I'm going to be cranking the LOD all the way down to the negative, because it just makes the game look so much better. Photos do not justify. They really do not justify. Okay, so here's some benchmarks I'll quickly cover. gets kind of interesting. Superposition 8K, we see drastic scaling here, but that's not the full picture. As I went to go sort of benchmark a bunch of sort of relevant multiplayer titles like X-Defiant and Rainbow Six Siege, and I had a bit of a hard time, one, getting consistent benchmarks. No matter what I did Rainbow Six Siege, I was constantly getting 900 FPS, and then I realized there's no render resolution slider, and then for me to use my 4K monitor to do the benchmarks, I would have to use my external tool. The latency, annoying, so I was like, oh well, I won't do that. X-Defiant as well, kind of didn't really see any scaling. It was weird, but anyway, so I decided to do Modern Warfare 2. Why? It's a consistent benchmark, okay? I need something consistent that'll let me do a quick run, everything's the same, do a latency test. So it gets really weird. There's some titles you won't see any scaling here, and you're thinking, well, Chris, you're playing with the 4090 on 1080p. So of course you're not going to see scaling, because you could definitely see scaling on Superposition 8K. Hold up a second. Scroll down a little bit. I benchmarked it in 4K too. Now in 4K in Modern Warfare 2, we are ringing out the card. That card is at 99% GPU usage, 100 GPU usage. And same here, I'm not really seeing a difference. So I think that comes down to being inconclusive, and it's going to depend on the game. So what I would say is, don't worry too much if there's a latency impact or not. If you want to muck around with it, roughly look at your frame rate counter, and you guys will tell if you're getting more or less frames. You guys know your games, you guys know your systems. It's definitely something worth playing around with, that's for sure. Okay, now video, that's what we're doing now. So let's sort of do the guide. Right, so what do we do? I've made it super easy for you guys, so you don't have to fully understand how this works and what to do. Obviously, I've provided screenshots here. You want to manually do it yourself. Anyway, so we've got that folder on the desktop. Let's open it up. It's doubled it, so I'm just going to drag that there. Open this folder. We'll double click allow scripts. Some of you would have used my older guide. All this is going to do is allow you to run PowerShell scripts, allow you to double click on PowerShell scripts, and there is a revert option if you want. Okay, so if you want to just use it to run the script and then you just want to put everything back to how it was before, there's a revert option. We're going to double click this, and it'll also unblock the files. So press 1, press enter. It'll say enabled PowerShell scripts and unblocked files. So now we will be able to run this file because it will not be blocked. And we can also run PowerShell scripts. Okay. Now, when you run this, some of you will see a UAC prompt come up. If you have UAC enabled, that's fine. Just press yes. And we should see a nice little list here. So how does this work? Right. So 1 is going to put the LOD all the way to positive and make the game look horrible. It's going to put the textures in the worst mode. Number 2 is going to make the textures look like clay. And what's funny is, like in some games, you can see through trees in certain textures. It's quite funny. Negative is going to put the textures all the way, sort of the negative setting. So it would be -3, positive is +3. LOD negative is what you would want to use if you want to make your game really pop. Make the textures look better. And I actually wish I kind of knew and played with this one years and years ago, because there were some games I was playing that really struggled with 1080p textures, and this could potentially fix games like that. So even for the guys that are playing lower resolutions but maybe struggling with visibility, it's going to be worth playing around with too. I feel like there could be a use case for everyone to play around with this. And then number 4, which is LOD default, so that's just going to be the NVIDIA defaults. Now, to not overcomplicate things, because the only way I can import NVIDIA settings, LOD default is the default performance settings that are in my guide. So if anyone has a problem with that and want to go back to NVIDIA defaults, they can simply go here and then click restore, or they could do that in NVIDIA profile inspector as well. So you would press 6, okay, and then you could go restore defaults, right? Because I didn't want to put too many options in here and overcomplicate things. Now, before I explain more, I'm going to close the script and clean my temp folder. Okay, so I've done that. I've made the script smart enough to check if NVIDIA Profile Inspector is already there. So I just wanted you guys to see, when you guys first open it, it's going to download NVIDIA Profile Inspector and put it in your temp folder. So when you do a disk cleanup, temp folder always gets cleared, so it's not permanently installed on your system. That's kind of how I've done the optimization guide with certain downloads. And you guys have used that. Now, that's pretty straightforward. That's going to toggle the settings with my performance NVIDIA settings. So it's just going to be an easy way for you guys to switch it on and off, especially for the people that don't fully understand how to use this or are not comfortable going in NVIDIA Profile Inspector themselves and going in and changing settings, right? Now, read-only. Read-only will set those files to read-only like I showed in the guide, right? So that's going to be these ones here. That'll do that automatically. Now, if these are set to read-only and you try to manually change something in NVIDIA Profile Inspector, NVIDIA Profile Inspector will crash. But how I've mitigated that is, read-only will set the files to read-only, but if you run 1, 2, 3, 4, or 6, it'll set them to not read-only, if that makes sense. So read-only will set the files to read-only, and then all the other scripts will set them to not read-only. I just wanted to sort of make this just really, really simple and easy to use. So hopefully you guys can understand that. So let's say we wanted to go LOD clay just for fun. You press number 2, press OK, and that's it. And you would go try and see if it worked. If it didn't work, you're probably going to have to do it again and then do read only. So come back in, open the script, press 2, apply it first. Then do read only. 5, it'll say it set those files to read only, and then you can go ahead and launch the game. Here is Xdefiant with LOD Clay. Quite funny, actually. I'll spawn in, just show you guys. Sometimes it'll do it for a bunch of textures. Sometimes it won't do it for any of them at all. Okay. Probably not the greatest game example to show you, right? But it's something. So I'll show you guys what to do for other games that won't let you do it, or you'll have to manually change it. Not all games you're going to have to do read-only for. You're just going to have to test out and see. My advice is, if you want to know if you're able to change LOD, whether it works or not, try the clay option first, because it's pretty blatantly obvious that it's working or not. But obviously too, like negative, the textures should look better. Positive, the textures will look worse. Now remember, when you run option 1, 2, 3, 4, or 6, it'll set the files to not read only. So I'm going to show you something. I'm going to do LOD clay, right? And then press OK. Then I'm going to open up Inspector, because to do the video today with Modern Warfare 2, I had to manually change the setting. So what it's actually doing, the script, is just changing the global setting, which is that, and that, and it's toggling this to either -3, +3, so that's for DirectX, that's for OpenGL, or 7/8, right? 7/8's the clay. Okay, so let me show you. So say like you were trying to get it to work for Call of Duty, it wasn't working for Call of Duty, right? And it's the same for sort of all of them. You just go search the game. So I was benchmarking Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 2022. Click on that, and if you come here, look, it applied that setting, it applied that setting, it applied that, but it didn't apply it for what we actually need it for. We need that LOD BIOS set for DirectX, obviously, so it wouldn't work. And another thing, well, to get it to work, let's just click on here. We'll copy this number and we'll just paste it here, and we'll press apply. So that should work. If it doesn't work, you're gonna have to set it to read only as well. Specifically with Call of Duty, you do have to set it to read only as well. If we don't set it to read only, okay, the 2 little files to read only, when you boot up the game, it's going to just set this back to 0. Battlefield 5 did the same thing. That's how the game tried to counter the patch. Their update patches tried to counter people doing this. In my opinion, that's not the right way to go about it. This is the right way to go about it if the game developer wants to patch it. Right. So we've manually set that, but specifically for Call of Duty, we need to set the files to read only. So we will close Inspector, and I've done this on purpose. We can't use the script until we've closed Inspector. Now it comes back. Now we'll set it to read only. Done. Now we can launch the game. All right, here we have it working on Modern Warfare 2. We had to manually set it for the specific game profile in Inspector and then set the file to read only. That was a way to get it to work. That's roughly what it looks like. It's going to look a little different depending on the game, but it's definitely less visually distracting, as you can see. And I'll quickly show you how the lobby looks, just because I have a game open right now and I wanted to give you guys a little bit more image comparisons. But there's some games that'll look crazy, like Roblox textures, even more so than this. It's quite hilarious. All right, so let's say we want to go back to default. We're done. We press number 4, and remember 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6 are going to set the file to not read only, so we don't have to worry. You wouldn't want to leave it at read only, because if you ever try to change NVIDIA 3D control panel settings, they're linked. They're the same thing. You wouldn't be able to change anything. So that's sort of done. Now, if you are not happy with the performance NVIDIA 3D control panel settings that I have set here, please go ahead and press restore. That'll put you back to the defaults. All right. Like I said before, you can also do the same by going to inspector, press defaults here. Now, specifically, if you changed it manually for a game, all right, and you haven't really refreshed your driver, usually when you refresh your driver, these will get reset. Okay, let's say you set that manually for a game, but the game didn't need to be read-only because the game wasn't changing it back to 0. You'll probably want to go and click on that and press restore there and apply. That should cover everything. If I've missed anything, check it all out in the GitHub guide. Hope you guys have fun with this one. Someone please find a way to do this for Vulkan. It'd be really cool. Someone try to find a way and let me know. You guys can contact me either through the GitHub. You can put like a request or a bug request or feature request or whatever, or you can contact me on Discord. Hope you found the video helpful. See you guys next time. Bye.
Textures in my head, textures in my bed. Positive or negative, not sure what she said. NVIDIA felt so bad, it really makes me mad. Game developers try and ban